Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is a brand new episode of Just Crafting, a live stream happening most Fridays right here on youtube.com/Mini Terrain Domain. Sorry, I'm used to doing that intro for the live streams over on Twitch, so I hesitated for a moment there. I'm still trying to get my setup. I was having some problems getting the camera, the overhead camera set up. What is? Pay no attention to the curtain behind the man. So this is our second live stream, and as you may have noticed by the title, Just Crafting, some of you will remember that last week we had talked during the stream in the chat about coming up with a name. And one of the names that was really great and I thought we were going to land on was Craftastic. And I had even briefly titled the archive of that episode Craftastic. However, unfortunately, it turns out that Craftastic is a rather successful YouTube channel already in existence. And then I was listening to Harris Heller from Alpha Stream, one of his videos where I get some streaming advice, and all he did was mention the popularity of the Just Chatting channels on Twitch, and I thought, just chatting, just crafting. Did a quick look, not really being used by a whole lot, so guess what? Welcome to Just Crafting, the semi-regular live crafting stream from me here on YouTube. I'm so happy to see everybody here so far. I see Dice Ogre. I don't think I've been in a live stream for the last 2 weeks that you have not been a part of. So we really appreciate the support. Crafts and Minis, fantastic to see you here. Crooked Staff Terrain, welcome. Jeremy, my friend, are you going to be sticking around for a little while, or you got a game tonight? I hope you're going to stick around for a little bit. Tonight, we're going to do I didn't really plan a specific craft. We're really winging it tonight. But part of that is because this package just came in the mail. And as some of you know, I am a Plaid ambassador. Plaid is the company behind such wonderful products as Mod Podge. They also make a lot of these folk art craft paints that myself and many other people use in our craft. And I have literally hundreds of these bottles not too long ago. And if you follow me on the Mini Terrain Domain Instagram, I often post pictures of this stuff. A while back, I got several bottles of these new antique, or it's part of their Treasure Gold series. In fact, before we get into that, I'll just showcase some of these. On my Instagram, there is a photo where I did a comparison showing these off, but these are some really cool new line of Treasure Gold paints. The colors are going to be skewed if they're in the green spectrum because of the green screen behind me. But these are 4-ounce bottles where these are the standard 2-ounce bottles. This is a metallic paint. It's a little thinner than the usual acrylics, and it's a wide variety of golds. I really love this sort of, it's called Fire Opal, and it has a very coppery appearance to it. And I'm trying to come up with something where I can use a larger amount of this. One of the things that's really cool about these paints is if you base something with a flat black. I've been using up, I think I talked about it last time, been using up some of this Stuart Semple black. It's a pretty basic flat black. But if you put that down as a base coat and then you dry brush on these metallics, you get some really incredible effects. This is a antique copper, which has a almost purple hue to it. And the paints themselves have a very metallic look to them. So yeah, I got this as a Plaid ambassador. Myself and some of the other crafters like V, the Crafting Muse, DM Scotty, I think Bill Pope over at Punished Props actually works with Plaid for some sponsorships as well. But they send over some incredible packages without warning. Sometimes it's a heavy package full of literally dozens and dozens of paints. Sometimes they're smaller packages, like this one here. There's a few things knocking around in there. The one that came with those metallics also, I think that's the one, or the one before that I got, actually had a lot of earth tones, whites, as well as, see them, oh, they're up in my brush holder up there, 30 Mod Podge brushes. So, hey, what you looking at, Josh? Welcome. Good to see you here. And Initiative Coffee Company. Hey, neighbor. Initiative Coffee Company is a partner. I have to get the link set up over here on YouTube. But you can head over to Initiative Coffee Company and look up their help action, and you can actually buy Metade roast coffee over there, which is a blend that in collaboration with Brian over there, we picked. And for every bag you buy of that coffee, you get $3 of your purchase is going to benefit Jasper's Game Day, a wonderful organization that seeks to eliminate and raise awareness of teen suicide and suicide in general. Tonight I'm fueled by coffee. It's not meant to roast, but it is my coffee. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a knife here. We're going to switch to our overhead view and we're going to get cracking. After this box, I'm going to announce another new partnership with Mini Terrain Domain, and I'm going to show off some stuff I got in a box from them that is very relevant to the stream and to this channel. So let's go ahead and we're going to switch over to our main overlay, and I'm going to move that keyboard. So I got some simple black poster board here. It's turning out to be a little more reflective and picking up some of these Anyway, I wanted to have a little bit different thing to make whatever's in this box stand out. The black tape I put on there for obvious reasons to hide my address and barcodes and all that good stuff. So I have no idea what's in this box. We are going to discover this together. We will do it together. All right. There's probably a packing slip in here right on the top. I'm not going to look at that. That usually says what's in the box. Well, we want to be surprised. Ooh, what do we got here? All right. Brown paper. Excellent. I've been waiting for that. Just kidding. Move that. All right. What do we got here? Oh, you know what? So Plaid recently rebranded. They've been on Facebook as Plaid Cosplay. And they are leaning really heavily into the cosplay market. And they recently rebranded Plaid Cosplay, I believe, to Plaid FX. This is incredible. These paints. So, all right, I'm getting really excited. So, something that you can look forward to in future Friday night live streams, because I really want to do this, is I'm going to be venturing into some elements of cosplay. I have a product, a thing from related to Absolute Tabletop and the Dead Man's Guide to Dragon Grin that I want to do. That's going to be a shield, and there's a couple of weapons I want to do. Eventually, I'd like to try doing some armor stuff. That's where this comes in. This looks like it's a new line of paints designed for cosplay. Look at this. Flexible acrylic paint. So they've built some elasticity into this paint so that it can flex a little bit with your various materials that you're going to use in cosplay. I'm guessing there's going to be a little paper or foil seal. Okay. I'm not going to pop that open just at the moment here, but let's go ahead. Let's get all these out of the box. We'll take a look, see what the colors are. There's a pretty interesting array of colors here. This is really exciting. I'm very excited for my friends that are into cosplay on a regular basis. Yeah, this is exciting, not knowing what was going to be in the box and seeing it. So we've got I need to get another camera so I can do some better close-ups on this. See if I can hold this up here and get a better look. This is the Smooth Satin Flexible Acrylic Paint. That's the key thing, is it's a flexible paint. This is Armor Metallic. So I noticed that with this blue, which I just love the look of these two colors together. Oh my gosh. And that's amazing, Daiso Gray. I just saw that cosplay hand of Vecna. That would be cool. Just checking up on the chat real quick. Fellowship of the Tables. I assume you're talking about my gleaming head. Yes, I do enjoy having a bald head. But look at this blue. I can't get over how awesome this blue is. I don't know if it's any better in the small camera. Oh, there we go. It's kind of refocusing on there. Just look at that. And you know what? I'll take some camera shots of this stuff after the stream, and I will post them on the Mini Terrain Domain Instagram. But yeah, this is really cool. So we've got these two colors here. Armor Metallics in you know what? It's just saying Armor Metallic. It's not actually, I mean, obviously it's a blue. I just want to see if they have cool names. Sometimes they come up with cool names for their paints. Did they forget to name? Oh, there we go. This is Saber Blue. And this is Chainmail. So as I said, they are really embracing that. This white is called Blizzard. I'm gonna see if I can. Well, you just get these to stay in frame. This is Nitro Glow. So this is going to be a glow-in-the-dark paint. It just says neutral. So I'm wondering if you cover it, like they make a, in these types of bottles, they make a glow-in-the-dark paint that I've used before that does a really good job of going over something and not obscuring it in daylight, and then when you turn out the lights, it glows really well. Hey, what you looking at? I used to work with a guy in the 90s that had a late 60s, early 70s Chevelle that was this color blue. It was pretty dope. So yeah, I'm guessing that this glow in the dark you could probably put over just about any color and make that glow. Oh, they sent a primer, a clear primer. Okay, that's cool. I'm wondering, I'm gonna have to check out Punish Props and see if they do anything on this, these, because they do a lot of prop stuff. Hey, Tamiko, I think I saw Carol in there as well, so welcome. Ooh, look at this. High voltage glitter is what this one is called. We'll focus in there. I can barely read the label. There's so much glitter going on here. It's called iridescent glitter. There's another high voltage glitter in bronze shift. So that's really cool. We've got another armor metallic. This one is emerald. Man, that would be really cool to do some forest green pieces in this. Nuclear neon, jolt, obviously. I don't know if that's meant to be like for, well, whatever. I mean, if you're going to do something in neon, that's weird. I'm going to have to use this to help balance my colors out on this camera because, wow, this is terrible. You know what? I just realized I don't have any of my color correction filters that I normally have. Because I think if you look here, oh, that's green screen. So that's not going to help you at all. I'll fix that for future streams because I want you to, you're just getting a glimpse of how often, or how awesome, I should say, these paint colors are. And then this is a color called Goblin Green or Gobbo Green for you, Tamiko. It's showing up a little more yellow on there. It's probably not going to show up on there because it's green. Again, I will dial in my color correction using these brilliant paints here so that you can really see this. But picture this as a really bright neon green. And this is absolutely incredible. That'll explain why my black here is washed out. I need to crush the blacks. That's from an old VFX crossover with Epic Mealtime and Freddie W. Okay, so this is awesome. I threw the box off to the side. I should have kept it closer. I'm going to go ahead and move these paints aside because next up is the first official unveiling of a new partnership with Mini Terrain Domain that is going to result in some very awesome things showing up here, in particular on the Friday night live streams, Just Crafting, but also showing up in produced videos as well as showing up in well, you can benefit from it because every once in a while I'm going to do some giveaways. I have just joined the WizKids official review mailing list, which means that whenever they send out new products for content creators to review, pre-painted miniatures, unpainted miniatures, those kinds of things, other things, products that they have, they will send some of those to me. I will be doing live unboxings. I will be doing produced unboxings. I will be doing product reviews. And occasionally I might be giving away some of the stuff that I get through that. So I'm very excited. I'm actually not doing an unboxing tonight. And these first couple of things that I'm going to show you, I'm going to switch back to, I'm going to switch back here in a moment to, let me check something real quick. This is live television, live YouTube television. So you get to deal with some of the effects of that. I think what I want to do real quick, because if I'm going to show off this stuff, I really want you to see how awesome the colors are. So I'm going to bring in these three. You're going to just bear with me for one moment while you get to see a little bit. So one of the things that I have on the channel here is I have a live, not live, but I have a tutorial on how to do live streaming games, and I go over a bunch of the setting stuff, and I'm going to switch to the main overhead view here again. And what I'm going to do is I have written down the sheet numbers for my color correction filters. And I really want you guys to get the benefits of this color correction. So I'm going to dial this in real quick. It should only take a moment. You'll probably start to see these colors stand out a little bit more. The black will become blacker if I'm doing this right. That should go, yeah, see that black just jumped. And then this goes down to -16. And then this is 10, 0, and then 100. Okay, that's a little bit better than what we were dealing with just a moment ago. So you can see the colors a little bit better. I'll tweak these off stream a little bit more for you. Yeah, trackball. I've been using this model of trackball for about 10 years. It's an M570 from Logitech, wireless trackball with a couple of shortcuts. I have this exact same mouse at my work computer as well. I have in my wish list on Amazon the new I think it's a 970 or 590 or something. That is a newer version of that mouse, but I love my trackball. Okay, so now that little bit of dialing stuff in is out of the way, I see, Josh, you mentioned what you're looking at. You mentioned that about the blind boxes from WizKids. I do also have quite a few minis from those. That I love to get those blind boxes, and WizKids will be sending me some of those in the future. The first thing that I have in this package is, and I will be doing a produced unboxing of this product because it's a new feature that's going to be coming up on YouTube on Mini Terrain Domain. Is I'm going to do an unboxing of Icons of the Realms Spell Effects Mighty Conjurations. But in addition to the unboxing, I'm going to unbox it. I'm going to show off the pieces. I'm going to have the camera set up to show it in a little better detail. But I'm also going to show you how I then further touch up with washes and dry brushing, putting basing material on these pieces. But take a look at this. I will see more detail when I do a live unboxing. But this has Create Bonfire, a Healing Spirit Fae, Healing Spirit Beast, a Rope Trick. We got Mordenkainen's Sword, 6 Bones of the Earth, a Guardian of Faith. We got Maximilian's Earth and Grass, 4 Dancing Lights, a Flaming Sphere, an Arcane Eye, Leomund's Secret Chest, Mordenkainen's Faithful Hound, a friggin' Leomund's Tiny Hut, a Force Cage that is 2x2, that's 10 feet by 10 feet by 10 feet, and the 20 foot by 20 foot by 20 foot Force Cage. Look at this thing. This is the Force Cage. This is a pretty awesome set. I'm very excited to hopefully as early as next week release an unboxing and modification video on the amazing pieces that are in this set. So that's just one of the cool things that WizKids sent over. There's some really cool artwork on the box. I just love the artwork that they put on here. Mordenkainen, presumably. So yeah, that's really cool. fantastic. Oh, not too many boxes. Next, believe it or not, this box is even bigger. And there is a reason that this box is even bigger. And that's because this is SpellFX Hallister's Tumultuous Templates. That's right, these are Spell Effect templates. And I'm actually going to do some touching up with these as well. Almost exclusively, we'll be doing some dry brushing with some pearlescence and things like that. But you get in this box, you get a Cone of Fear. You get a full-sized fireball ring, a moonbeam, hypnotic pattern, web, Spirit Guardians Angelic, Spirit Guardians Fiend, Spirit Guardians Fae, Burning Hands cone, and a big old square of Fairy Fire. Never again will you have to wonder at your table whether or not somebody's actually in the effect of the spell. So I'm very excited to also do a separate video as I unbox these. And one of the reasons I'm really cool, you might be asking, hey Jake, you do almost all your games are oh wait, I gotta do that. Hey, see you, Jeremy, thanks for stopping by. I gotta do my people voice. Hey Jake, all your games are live streamed. How are you gonna do all this stuff with miniatures? Well, I am hopefully in the not too distant future going to actually start using this overhead camera right here on a adjustable arm, much like my microphone is. And over on the side, I'm going to have battle maps and terrain set up along with miniatures, and I'll be using those during the stream. It's a good thing I know you are kidding, Dice Ogre, throwing glitter on your table for Fairy Fire. That would be absolutely insane. So that's just two. Gotta find a safe place to put these. That's just two of the awesome things that WizKids sent over. And because I was in between on when they sent out their promotional material, they sent me over a few other things. So first off, and this is where it's going to become even more relevant to the stream, because I'll actually be painting some of these items in future streams. This here is a Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures. This is the Baelor Demon. And that is relevant to one of my stream games in the far future. But check out that bad boy. Hey, Frag, welcome. 437 Casimo. Baptiste. Yeah, Frags, I'm going to... All right, so as I go through these, I'll talk to you about what the giveaway is going to be. But we're going to actually do, on future streams, we're going to do some painting on some of these miniatures that have been sent my way. This one is a Behir. This is really cool. V, the Crafting Muse, did just finished up over the last couple of weeks. She did an amazing job on her Behir. And I'm looking at, I might do something a little bit different with this one. But we were joking on her stream in the chat about the way the way it looks, the way the hands are in its mouth. It has this sort of like, oh, for me kind of look about it. And I forget what she named hers, what they named hers on the stream, but this one is going to be named Behir Arthur from the Golden Girls. That's right, puns galore. Next up, V also recently did a painting on her stream, absolutely amazing, from the Pathfinder Battles Deep Cuts. This is a Pit Fiend. Incredible musculature and detail on that. This is a very detailed sculpt, and I'm looking forward to painting this one, figuring out what the paint scheme is going to be, doing that. Nice. Frag, hold my bit here. Frag is very skilled at the puns. Let's see. Next up in this, all of this came in the same box too. This is a young silver dragon. And this model has its wings folded back in a swept back look. So I have quite a few really cool metallics and opalescent paints that I'm looking forward to trying out with this one. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of neat when you have something that is a metallic that's basically just all one color, that you can do a lot of cool stuff with color changing paints and stuff like that. Let's see what else. I got a few other things in this box. Let me pull these other ones out, get them ready so I can show you, and then I can tell you about one that I already know I'm going to do a giveaway on. All right. So I might do two, but for sure I know I'm going to do at least one. So this is a really cool set that came in this box. Let me move these ones out of the way. Oh no, toppling books. Boy, if you could see behind the camera right now, it's the disarray. I have too many things in too many places. Not enough room. Sorry about that. All right. Let's see. Let's get this dragon out of here. Get these out of here. We'll be doing painting of these. Not all of them will be on stream, but we will do some. This is an earth elemental, a water elemental, an air elemental, and I think you know what's coming. That's not an air elemental. That's a fire elemental. And you know what's coming next. That's right. The air elemental. 4 elementals all together. These are pretty cool sculpts as well. And these 3 will lend themselves to very thinned out paints, doing more of a wash. And I've got an idea of how I'm going to tackle the water one. But it basically has, you know, it looks like this this wave that has the idea, you know, it sort of looks like hands and a face, an anthropomorphized wave. No such thing as too many. So that's those, but we're not done. This is a really cool thing. I essentially did something like this with the Dawnbringers game recently. Not quite to the effect of this one, but a bunch of skeletons that were defeated formed into a larger skeleton. This is a bone golem, and they've painted it up here so you can see the musculature underneath. I like painting skeletons. I've got a technique that I use that I really like to use. It'll be really interesting to apply that while also applying the muscle tissue. I want to do, this looks a little too much like 2-color. But I want to do something with this reds and a little bit of purples in there. But yeah, this is really cool. There's like bones sticking up, and the legs, the feet are literally just piles of skulls. So that's a really cool one. And of course, you got to have mimics. We've got a mimic that's a chest, and we've got a mimic that's a keg. These are just lovely. I'm a big fan of mimics. So I'm very excited to have these mimics in particular. They do come with the little round bases. I think all of these do actually come with the round plastic bases. And so some of them I will be doing some base work on stream as well. Now, this is the one where I thought I'm probably going to paint this one and do a giveaway. I'm going to do a custom painted. Well, this one we will most definitely paint on stream in the future. And then I'm going to do a giveaway on it because not that I don't like the sculpt, not that I don't like the way it looks, but I'm personally not a super big fan of the Underdark. I was traumatized by Out of the Abyss. I did not like that campaign very much. So we're going to do a painting of this mini. It is a Drider, and the sculpt is actually really awesome. So for those of you that may not know, a Drider was actually, in a lot of cases in the lore of the Underdark, was a form of punishment where they would cast out the males, almost always males, but sometimes females, of the drow, and they would undergo this very painful ritual where they would become part spider and part drow. And that's exactly what this is. So they have a huge spider body and then the upper torso. And what's cool about this one is, as you look at it, is the, you know what? Since I know we are actually gonna paint this one on stream, I'm gonna open this one up. I'm gonna pop this one right out of the thing here. We're going to, oh, there goes the base. Base. See that? I dropped the base. Base. That was a really bad joke, and I don't care. All right, so this is our awesome Drider. If I can get it to focus in on it a bit. I need to get that other camera set up. Oh yeah, there we go. There you go. Well, it was showing. You can see the two what look like rapiers or possibly scimitars being drawn back, like huge, from like a huge swing about to come down. Plus just the posture of the spider rising up. The detail on this scope is really incredible. These are the pre-primed minis, so you don't really have to do any additional priming work. Not too long ago, I painted a burrow, Old Bill, from this line, and I did not prime it. And I was pretty pleased with how this one turned out. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do with this one is I will paint it up, and in the future, when it's done, I will figure out, I got to look at the legalities of doing giveaways here on YouTube. It'll probably be through Gleam. But we will do a giveaway for this model painted by Mini Terrain Domain. And what I'll do is I'll sign the base. Maybe even I'll put it on a tiny little diorama or something. But yeah, one lucky person will receive, or unlucky, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you don't like my painting. But yeah, so that is the unboxing of some of the stuff that I've gotten recently. So you can expect to see my main reason that I wanted to do this, besides showing off, hey, check out all this cool stuff that I got, is I want you to know that I'm serious about doing crafting content here on the channel, because I mean, that's what it is. It's called Just Crafting. So if we got all these cool minis and stuff to paint, you know that we're going to be doing some miniature crafting. You know, I'm moving all of these aside, and I'm realizing I don't have a plan for what I'm going to do next. So I will show you, in case you missed it last week. I did a how to do a core for a dice tower, and this was a very simple dice tower that we did with some foam on the, ooh, that was a nat 1. This die is not rolling well for me. There's an 18. But we put some foam on there. We built this in less than 2 hours using hot glue, cardboard, and a thin foam material. And a produced video, how-to video, will be coming in the future on this. But this dice tower, even at its rather short stature, is sufficient enough for rolling even D4s. Those pesky triangles with their flat bottoms. Yeah, so that's what we did last week. And I have, that's actually a replacement. Coffee break. A replacement for, on a different project. I mixed up the dimensions on two separate projects. So this, by comparison, this is a similar tower, but you can see it's a full couple inches taller, just enough to have one additional baffle in there. One other thing that I did differently is that on this one, I reinforced all of the ramps, the individual ramps, with additional cardboard in there. Butt drag. Thank you, Tomiko. I knew we had a catchphrase for that. So this is actually part of, I don't know if you're still there with us, Carol, or not, if you're just listening in, but Carol knows. Carol wins the award for the absolute most patient person. I love you to death, Carol, and thank you so much for your patience. But you're going to like this, because this is the first time you're seeing what I'm doing different with this. So for this dice tower, it is a treasure hoard. The dice will come down. This will be coated to look like a stone chimney, essentially. And this dragon, Narthrax, painted as Carol requested in blue. And I don't know if you can see that shimmery on there. That's using some of the pearlescent paints on there. And I got to paint this base up. I haven't done anything with the base yet. But here's something. I got to go off camera a moment. Somewhere around here is the actual template that I set aside. Oh, I think I see it. Aha! Excellent. I'm glad I remembered that I said that over there. This is bigger, too. So the original plan for this dice tower has always been the fact that it would be into a dragon's hoard. Carol was actually with me when I bought this dragon at Tacoma Games in Tacoma, Washington. The original plan was that the dragon would sit here, the dice would come underneath it, and spill out into the hoard. And I never quite liked it because it seems a bit unwieldy. Trying to get over top of the dragon and everything. So I thought, how can I make this very usable at the table so that everybody can see it? And let's get out of this thinking that a dice tower traditionally is your tower's here and they spill out into a tray, right angles, all that kind of stuff, right? I came up with this concept. And I'm going to go ahead, just so you can kind of see a little bit better than the pencil markings on here. I'm going to go over all of these lines with a Sharpie. And I had done this a while back when I first came up with this concept. These are just arrows showing that this is an incline, or actually a decline. You should be able to see this much better. You start to get an idea of what we're going to be doing here. And the dice tower is actually going to go here in this corner, right? Well, help if I had it the right way. So the dice tower is going to go about here. Narthrax is going to go here. And he's actually going to be raised up a little bit. The idea is that this wingtip and the top of the dice tower are essentially parallel. So Narthrax is going to be raised up about, looks like it's about maybe 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches. And then what we're going to have here is where I've marked all of this area around here is going to be the treasure hoard. It's going to be the outside edge looking like kind of like a rocky bowl. and then the treasure is just spilling into this central area. It's spilling off from where the dragon is, and down here, this whole area will also be completely covered in treasure. I'm not going to go into detail yet about what I'm talking or what I'm going to be doing in this spot, because I like to have these little things emerge while I'm doing it, and even be surprises for the client. But there will be some cool things that are going to happen down inside here. But this whole interior base here, once I have everything done with the edges around here, maybe that's what we'll do here for the last hour, is I'll start building up. I'll transfer this to foam and start building up some of this, figuring out what that's going to look like. But this whole base is going to have resin poured in it. And that's going to allow, one, for you to still be able to see all of the treasure and stuff that's in this area here, but it's also going to provide a perfectly smooth, flat surface for the dice to roll. I feel confident that they're not necessarily going to get stuck up on the edges where the treasure is, but I mean, that's always a possibility. And if you've watched any of my treasure hoard videos, you'll notice that I've made my own custom treasure mix, and I use it for a variety of things, and we'll be using it extensively in this build. So I'm really excited about this. I'm glad to see that you like this, Carol. I mean, this is very usable at the table as a player or dungeon master. You're looking at the entire piece is looks like it's just a hair over, actually it's almost exactly 12 inches by an irregular 8.5 inches. I think that's right. Yeah, 7, 8. So about 8.5 inches this way. We're looking at 10.5 inches in height. That'll go up to 11 because I'm going to be using 1/2 inch foam for the base. You can put your dice in here. They'll spill out into this area here. And they're going to come clattering down into this resin area. I find the resin to be quite durable, and I haven't seen any complaints with it getting scratched up and things like that. That's a possibility, Baptiste. Baptiste has said, is there a way that you could place a place that you could put the dice within the treasure hoard? You could, but I don't want to limit. You'd only have enough room really to have one full set. And like most of my friends, I'm fairly certain Carol has more than one set. Yeah, we'll see. Carol, the metal dice is the one thing I'm not positive of, but I believe that the resin can withstand the metal dice. The nice thing is that you can simply buff it up just a little bit, clear up any marks. But it's not going to break. It's not going to crack or anything like that. You're going to have a good 1/8 of an inch or so of solid resin that's going to be in here. And the other thing I like is that gives it a nice amount of weight. So since I guess we're going to move on to this next phase, I'm going to put Narthrax here, who I would love for you, Carol, to give this dragon its own name, rather than the name of the miniature. Oh, I knew you had more than one set of dice there, Carol. And I think I'm pretty confident in the way this is. All right, we're gonna do a quick transfer here. This black that you're seeing was here for the unboxing stuff, but I don't want to cut on it because it's just poster board. So let's move the poster board out of the way. All right, so now we got our crafting service here. Craft service. Surface. Where did I? Oh, I found that. Last week I was looking for my sharps container. Pay no attention to the curtain behind the man. Alright, I'm revoking your dice gobble card. Needs more. Only 8 sets. I think I have 8 sets in my dice tray over here right now that I've been using for my last couple of games. I use the box that my computer came in when I bought my laptop, which is a Predator. It came in this cool box with foam lining it. Moving all those wonderful new FX cosplay paints out of the way. So I use this. This is just what I've been using for the last couple of games in this tray right here. And that dice tower that we built in the stream last week, I've actually been using since last week. But there's, I think, 10 sets in here, plus a bunch of D6s. Okay, we're going to, because we're getting ready to do some cutting, we're going to, remember I told you guys I would remember to take care of that blade I broke off last week? Here it is. I highly recommend this, because you definitely don't want to throw blades in the trash where yourself, your family, your pet, garbage men, whatever, can get injured by them. Since I started crafting, I've had this. This is pretty much every blade since I started Mini Terrain Domain in the last 5 years that I've gone through. It's a peanut butter jar. It says sharps on it. And I cut a hole in the top with the Dremel tool. That's it. Eventually this will get too full and I'll throw it in the trash. I'll probably seal it with some tape. But if you don't have a sharps container, one thing you can do is you can take your blades and you can wrap them in several wraps of tape. But this just keeps them out of the way and keeps everybody safe. And then I have these stupid blades I bought over a year ago. They suck, but I gotta use them. I don't like them because the tip is ridiculously pointed and almost always breaks right away. And then I end up with these little tiny pieces of broken tip. I'll see if I can show you this ridiculous blade. I had it sitting in my cart and somebody ordered some stuff and ordered these too. But you see what the blade tip looks like on there, and then you look at what it actually looks like. It is ridiculously extra long and pointed, like almost like it just got extended an extra little bit. Man, I wish I could show that. There, you can kind of see it. I feel like the blade should stop here, but it goes for another like almost centimeter. It's just ridiculous. You remember? Yeah, Tamiko, they're the same ones because I have them. I mean, I guess I could just buy some new blades. But anyway, brand new blade on here, and I'm just going to rough cut this because a lot of the additional fine tuning will be done on the foam itself with sanding, possibly with hot wire. So I'm just taking my blade around these edges. Not too worried about it being perfect. As I said, this back end is going to get taken care of once we have the dice tower placed, because I got to keep in mind the thickness when we add the stone texturing with foam to the tower itself. So there is, believe it or not, this is your weird shaped dice tower and tray there, Carol. You can see on the back side there. I had, when I sort of positioned it, I kept in mind the fact that there's going to be some half-inch thickness all the way around for the foam. So I've made some allowances for that. The idea is that the treasure hoard itself actually starts in this area here. And we're going to have to do some figuring out, because I'm going to build that up so that we're not wasting a lot of material. We'll probably do some build up with, you know what? We might do a little, almost like a paper mache trick. We might do some newspaper that will sort of hot glue in place, and then I have this this stuff. I've had it for years. It's Plaster Cloth. It's very dusty, but it's used in model railroading. I've used it on a couple of builds. It's basically a gauze cloth that has plaster worked through it. And you get it wet, and then it will dry very hard. So that might work for a nice base. It'll actually help to add some additional weight to it. I might even put some cardboard pieces in there as well. But let's go ahead. Let's get this transferred over to the foam. I gotta find a foam that is big enough for that, and I'm gonna have to slip behind my curtain. I will be right back. What happens when you don't have a full to get started? So, I'm very bad about promoting myself, but I'm trying to build my space out here a little bit better to make it bigger, so I don't have to climb all over everything, and I need a bigger workspace here. I'm going to go ahead and promote. If you would like to consider it, we have a mini terrain domain Patreon, patreon.com/mini terrain domain. And I'm getting ready to completely overhaul it. There'll be some new tiers, new rewards, regular posting. But we've got a couple people over there that are supporting the channel through Patreon. It's allowed me to purchase upgrades such as the stream deck that I use for managing my streams, several things for supplies, for crafting, that kind of stuff. There's also a I don't know, let me check something real quick. I feel really weird doing shilling stuff, but sometimes people want to help out. I know YouTube has this super chat thing, I guess you can do. I've seen a couple people do it. Try this. Trying to get a link that I can share for all of you. But one of the things I was getting at about that, besides the space, is, you know, being able to even purchase replacements for stuff like this. These kind of blades are not cheap. Well, these ones are. These are cheap ass blades. But the good blades are not cheap. What I'm trying to find is a link that I can share with you. See this. Okay, well, we're gonna get started doing this thing here instead of me trying to get you people to donate to me. Don't worry about that. Ignore that. Here. All right, now I got myself stuck on something. I can't get it to go away. 1 second. I apologize. I started to look at something and then I got myself stuck on a window and I need to make it go away. So in case I share my screen, you don't accidentally see passwords or login. Oh, hold on. I know where it is. Let's see. Not only is he a shill, he's a terrible shill. He's trying to get us to do stuff, and he doesn't even know what he's doing. There we go. My apologies, friends. That was very bad form. That might actually go through the Twitch interface, but that's for direct tipping. So that's the last of my shilling. I feel dirty now. I'm gonna take a shower. I'll drink some coffee. All right, what did I miss here? Curtain number 1. Oh my god, I want to. Oh, a windmill one, Tamiko. That sounds awesome. I've actually experimented with multiple holes. Let me rephrase that. I have experimented with diversion pieces that will basically for a dual tower you would have a split like this, so the dice would hit and have to go on either side. For a triple one, I have actually done it with PVC pipe or tubing, and you create a sort of a funnel, and then the dice have to decide where they are going to go into. Now I'm making obscene hand gestures. But I love the idea of a fan. Dice could be routed by the fan blades. Poor Jake will read this in panic. A Hobbit House one. I had thought about doing a Hobbit House one, Dice Ogre, but you know, that's they're not big enough. I think that's the problem. I don't know if I would put a motor on the windmill. I think it would have to be stationary, although you could. I'm not sure. It would have to be something. You'd have to change it up with gears. You're starting to get into engineering. That I'm not very good with. So, anyway, yeah, I can get a sense from the chat how far behind the stream is from what I'm actually saying. But I do appreciate that, guys, and gals, folks. I'm trying to use that more inclusive term, folks. But I appreciate all of you. So let's get to what we were doing. So I've got a big old chunk of foam sitting here that I need to make sure I got to cut a piece off of it. And I don't have a lot of space here to do it. I'm wondering, trying to do this in a way that you can see what I'm doing, and it's not going to be safe. It's not going to be unsafe. Let's just say it's not going to be OSHA approved. All right, there's our foam piece. I will take care of all that stuff after we do our stream. Nice thing is I can't quite see this back corner, but the camera helps me to see it. All right, where did I put that Sharpie? Where did my Sharpie go? I'm gonna jump over to this side because actually, no, I'm gonna do it on this side. I like the Pink Panther nonsense to get covered up by whatever I'm building. So this is pink foam insulation XPS. Let's see here. I'm just going to trace this outline. This is a straight edge, but I'm going to have it rough up a little bit. I'll show you how I do that too. Now the cool thing is I could break out the hot wire foam cutter table, the Proxon, but I think this will get in the way of the arm. One of the things I want to do, because I have all this extra here, and this is some good foam. I don't want to just cut it all haphazard. Trying to find the square attached. There we go. I want this piece that I'm cutting off to be usable, this offcut, because it's a pretty good size piece, and especially when you're talking about miniatures, I could, in all honesty, and if you're up for it, I did a live stream a long time ago, doing something similar, but if you wanted to, I could show you how using just this offcut, I could build a diorama. It's not quite. There we go. I just want to get a fairly straight cut here, for just to make this piece a little more future proof. Perfect. Throw it over there where eventually I'll find it. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to, I'm going to tilt my knife at a slight angle. Just to create a little bit of a bevel. And I'm not too worried about the exactness of this. I'm going to deliberately twist these a little bit here. Now I know you're saying, but Jake, that didn't go all the way through. You gotta learn to cut better. Well, I'm going to go through it again, following more or less that same line. I'm digging in a little bit more with the knife. Pop that off of there. I thought I broke the knife. This blade is getting duller. I'm gonna have to swap it out soon. I have replacements that are pretty decent for this. Oh, the foam squeaking gets you all weird. Yeah, you have a weird voice. What you're looking at as you're sitting there going, "What are you doing? Why does my voice sound like this?" All right. Now, technically, all of these pieces could potentially be used for something, but I've learned when it comes to these kind of irregular shapes, I am not likely to do much with them, so the best thing to do is throw them away. So, what we're left with is this sort of rough looking edge here. I did really haphazard cutting here just to get that general shape. I think I want to do a little bit more of a bevel. Cutting towards yourself is always a bad idea. Do not do it. That was bad form. There we go. A little more bevel there. I like to frequently make sure I'm test fitting my pieces on here. I'm pretty good. We'll have to figure out. I'm hesitant to place this permanently because I've got the cladding to put on the dice tower itself. The last time I used that style utility knife, I severed the tendon on my right ring finger when the snap-off blade broke unintentionally. Yikes. Do as Jake says, not as he streams. You got that right. Sorry, I just gotta make sure everybody's still alive. Okay. So I'm starting to think, before I can really plan out how the rest of this is going to go, we've got about 40 minutes left. I can start to smooth out the edges here and start to make it have that little bit of stone texture to it. Or I can start to clad this in the foam, which will mostly be just cutting some pieces and squaring them up, gluing them onto this. And I think what we're going to do, I literally just thought of this as I'm saying this. So we are going to put square pieces, put the pieces on here. We're going to have a little bit of a topper piece that's going to cover this here, give it a little bit of a cool look. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a facing piece for this that has a sort of cavern arch to it. So it'll arch a little bit and will stick out another little 1/2 inch. So what do you want to see? Do you want to see me do the cladding on this, get this fully armored up? Or do you want to see the doing the edge work on the base? We're eventually going to do all of it, but I'm just curious what you want to see. I saw this cool technique that somebody was doing on, I think, the Tabletop Crafters Guild, where they used a soldering iron to create their stone textures. Because this is going to be more like rough stone, like rock. So I think I'm going to do that too. So I might want to grab a piece of foam and just practice a little bit with that. I got to find my soldering irons. We won't be doing that today. 437 Cosimo says they would like to see the cladding on the dice tower. Tomiko says everybody's saying cladding. All right, so the edge work will get done at a later time, which means I need that foam piece to just put over here. Oh, ow, that's hot. Okay. So, we know. What do we know? Well, here's what we know. We know that the dice tower is... We know that the dice tower is 3 1/4 inches thick this way, and 3 inches this way. We also know that our foam is 1/2 inch thick. I knew it was 1/2 inch, but I wanted to double check. All right. So that means that the 3 inches will be 4 inches because I want the facing piece to overlap the side pieces. So we are going to go with 3 1/4 inches on either side. And then that means we are going to have 4 inches of front and back. We have a total height of 10.5 inches. So that means... Where do I keep putting this Sharpie? I keep losing my Sharpie. So we know that we have 4 inches by 10.5 times 2. And we know that we have, what did I say again? The sides, I'm going to check these at the wide spot. It's still 3 1/4. So 3 1/4 by, I did a fraction here and I did a decimal here. 10.5 inches. We need 2 of those. So this is 6.5 inches of width and 8. So we're going to need a total of 14.5 inches by 10.5 inches. We only got one factory edge here. Oh. So I'm going to use a finer point. I'm going to mark, I'm actually going to go long just to be safe. Mark at 15. When I get my new workbench built, you'll actually be able to see, I'll have enough room to show you this kind of stuff. We'll be able to lay the material out on the table. Okay, so we got a line there. And I hope you can hear me all right. I'm not right up on the mic. I don't know how much room noise the mic is picking up when I'm away from it. The one that I want. Why am I singing show tunes? Not like from Greece. What's wrong with me? And a half. Right? Now we know what 10.5 inches there. You know what? I'm gonna make that be a little on the long side. Call that proud. It's a proud 10.5 inches. Insert your own jokes. This is not for children. That's the show. We're all adults here. At least I hope we are. I'll do one more for good measure. What I did there? For good measure. Yes, you can ignore me. It's okay. You can pretend you did not hear that. That was ASMR. I ran foam across the mic. Welcome to my ASMR video. Alright. So we got our lines roughed in. We are going to pull out our OSHA approved snap blade Olfa knife. And we're just going to cut straight down into the meat of our leg. Make sure you have plenty of bandages on hand to staunch the flow of blood. And I really wish I had a flatter surface or better surface, because these are some janky edges I just cut. But we can use our little straight knife there, or straight blade. Yep, I'm making up words. This thing. Because that's a factory edge up. I thought it was a factory edge. Maybe it's not. It's pretty banged up though. Alright, what I want to do, doesn't matter as long as our pieces ultimately are straightened out. So we got a nice right angle here. Why are you crying? I'm not an adult, but I play one on TV. Will Willow become a magic user? Stay tuned. In the future, we'll have foam lasers. I'm still not sure why you're crying, Tamiko. Oh, it's the squeakiness. I got you. Okay, so we are going to, one of the reasons I like this square here is I can drop it down to the 4-inch mark. And then I can make a mark and make a mark. And to make a mark, I'm going to switch up to this blade, or this ruler, lining up our 3 points. Making 1, 2, 3 times a lady. 3 cuts there. I'm not too worried about the rough edges. We're going to do that again. So we're going to mark off 1, 2. Now some of you may be saying, but Jake, why are you going so fast? You look like you're rushing. Well, the truth is I am not rushing. I am nearly finished. I have a tendency when I do certain things like this, I just get fast. Don't know why. I'm not in a rush. I should be taking my time. I'm now deliberately slowing myself down as we carefully drag the knife across the foam, slowly and firmly, each time cutting a little bit deeper until at last the foam piece is separated from its original location. All right. So, that is the 2 4-inch pieces, one of which is actually going to end up being shorter, but we'll use that piece we cut off, possibly. I don't know. Now I got to think about that. Okay, yeah. Before we hastily cut that off, I gotta account for that archway. So now we're going to our 3 1/4 measurements. I'm gonna drop this down to the 3 1/4. Also, I'm suddenly realizing I need to plug in the glue gun, because we're gonna need the hot glue gun for attaching these pieces. And 2, last week we used exactly 1 long piece of hot glue, so we need to load in a new one. Yeah. So set that over there to heat up. Do I have the big? Yeah, I got the big nozzle on there. He's got the big nozzle. All right. Glue guns don't kill people. They only give them 3rd-degree burns. All right. And before I mark that, did I mark this? Yep, 3 1/4. Measure twice, cut once. Making another mark. Pulling out this piece here. Lining those all up. Just in case that gets knocked aside. Slowly we pull the knife across the foam. Each time cutting ever so slightly deeper, letting the knife do all the work for us. Until at last we have liberated yet another piece of foam. 1 piece remains. To cut, that is. We make another mark. And another mark. Do we have any marks in the chat? Pay no attention to that beard hair. Everything I do is infused with beard. Alright. Carefully, so as not to slice into the meat of your thumb, removing your thumb from your hand. We are not looking for extradigital affairs. That is trash. What remains now are 4 pieces of foam, 2 of which are at 3 1/4, and 2 of which are at 4 inches. Now, I'm going to attach the back piece first. Now, one thing I'm noticing here is I stopped talking like a fool. One, my camera got knocked a little askew. It drives me nuts when it's not square with... Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm noticing that these are... They have a little bit of curve to them, but I'm hoping just gluing it down will take some of that. And it doesn't matter because we're going to be roughing everything up with some tin foil. I should probably... Actually, I should do the tinfoil texturing first now that I think about it. So this is just in... Oh, shoot. And that, I don't like that that runs the whole length. We'll do this side then. But I have a piece of tin foil rolled into a tight ball. It's got lots of great nooks and crannies on it. I like to just roll the foam with varying degrees of pressure. These are, when we start getting into this final phase of painting, when you're doing this early on, you'll be very thankful you did, because you're going to have lots of cool areas for paint to dig in, along with all the other texturing and stuff we're going to do. I like to hit it a little hard in places. All right, so that's one. See how quick that was? Every time he doesn't get it right, that's when the brilliant improvisation comes in through. What are you talking about? He better get it right. I'm watching. See, you might have the benefit of seeing when I make little mistakes, how I turn those into, as our favorite painter Bob Ross says, there are no mistakes, there's only happy little accidents. Excuse me. I turn a lot of things into my benefit. When you know how to cover things up or make them blend in. Why does that look like that's got a slice in it? No, we'll just texture around it. We'll make that part of it. Keep changing up which side I'm hitting with. That's varying texture. Man, my beard's shedding like crazy. Okay. I'll watch the rest of it. Oh, you're gonna go cook dinner. Understandable. Thanks for hanging out, Carol. So when you're gone, then we can start doing the super secret stuff. Oh wait, you said you'll watch later. Well, it won't be super secret then. But here's the brilliant thing is, you can only see so much detail on the stream. When the tower's done, we'll take the glamour photos, and then you'll get it sent off to you, and then you'll be able to see it in person for your very real own. I almost smashed my finger with that one. All right. It's like 17 degrees outside, and I have this heater on. It's getting very warm out here. Which is what I want, but not quite that warm. Whoops. With this side, not that side. I think you guys can see the texture all right. I think I'm creating enough play between the light and shadow that you're able to see what's going on here. Looks like it anyway. Yeah. Stuff falling down. Okay, so what we are going to do is I'm going to take one of these pieces here. Actually, I want to do the side pieces first, now that I think about it. So we are going to glue. Yeah, I did cut that proud. That's good. Because I want them to line up on the bottom. So we'll line the sides up as much as we can. There. Yeah, that'll work just fine. So what I'm going to do for gluing this is I've got my widest hot glue nozzle on here. It's on high temp, and it's at it's got a full thing in here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just zigzag along. Trying to get a little bit thicker beads in here now. I think about it because the thinner beads dry quicker. And we'll get in along here near the edges. And then while not waiting too long, we're going to take this piece, attach it, and I'm just sort of feeling along the edges, making sure it's where I want it. Ultimately, we can sand it and make things work. I love hot glue. I love gluing with hot glue. I love the smell of hot glue. Got a nice waxy, melty smell to it. So already this is grabbed on nice and tight. You can see where I cut it proud intentionally. And I'm going to go ahead, now that that's glued in place, Make my blade longer. I'm very, very lightly cutting this because I don't want to pop into my hand. I still dipped in a little more than I would have wanted, but that's not a problem. We'll fix it in post. Okay, so that's one side. Now we're going to go ahead and put on this other side. I think what I'll do is this time I'm going to go ahead and cut it beforehand. We're going to do the same thing here. Yeah, I knew somebody was going to say something there, Brian. But, I mean, that's how people cut apples. That's how old-timers cut apples. Hey, boy, would you like a slice of this apple? Or was that just me? I'm not sure if I'm the old-timer or the boy in that scenario. You come around the corner and you see an elderly-looking fawn seated upon a stump. He holds in one hand half of an apple. In the other hand, a neat... I don't know why I said neat. A knife. An elkhorn knife. Carefully trimming towards his thumb, he cuts off a piece and holds it out to you. Hello, boy. Would you like a piece of apple? No, thank you, Mr. Tumnus. I would not. You cut that apple in a very unsafe fashion. You can see now, as we put the cladding on, how much bulk this gets. Now, depending on the type of tower you're doing, you don't have to do half-inch cladding. You could do with foam board, which is much thinner. But I know that I want to do a lot of stone texturing with this, which is why I went with this particular thickness. Because it's becoming much beefier, as you can see. We're going to go ahead and add the back piece on. I don't think it really matters. And I still selected one. Knowing these pieces are a bit proud. It's weird because I measured the width and still got it wrong. You know why? This is not half-inch, which would be 4/8 or 8/16. I think it's actually like 9/16. But that's fine, because we're going to be doing some sanding and rounding of these edges once everything's glued in place. I'm going to mark this top edge here. And with this thick nozzle on and covering all of that, I'm already almost all the way through that one big glue stick, which means I reach into my 5-pound box of glue sticks and get another one ready. Okay, I put that in my mouth. This one is going to go onto the back. As long as the bottom squares up, we're good. So this time, I'm actually going to make sure that I run a bead along the foam bits. We're probably going to get some that spills out, and that's okay. The one ready. Feeling for that to stop pulling. Go. Quick change in effect. Should be enough. We take this, we line it up, square it up along the bottom, and we'll go ahead and push down from the top. And just to get any of that spills out. I'm going to center that a little bit. But you can see what I was talking about here, where it's not quite even. But like I said, we're going to do a little bit of sanding and rounding, and I'm going to do my best to conceal those edges in the pattern. I'm not too concerned about it, though my voice would tell you otherwise. What's that say? Does it still fit on the base? Good question. Remember I said that I had accounted for the size of the tower? As you look here, lining it up, there is still a little bit of space on this side. And on this side, and around the back, where I'll trim that, that'll probably end up coming flush. But yeah, yep. We'll probably end up with a little bit of spillover of the, maybe I'll shape it. What I'll do, once I figure out where I want it, I'll make the edges, and then I'll just sort of shape that in there. But hey, good call. That is an important thing to do when you're working with something like that. Now, another thing I could have done is, instead of cutting this, I could have waited until I had this fully cladded, then cut. Because then it would have obviously fit exactly. Hey, I just want to say thank you to all of you who have tuned in and hung out with me for the last couple hours. We're coming up on the end here. Excuse me. But I don't really want to go just yet, because I got to figure something out here. So we'll end around 8:30. Excuse me, 8:30 or so. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure, I guess we can measure this at just shy of 3 inches. So if we call that 2 3/4 peak, and then we know we need a 1/2 inch plus on either side. We got to account for the thickness of the cardboard. So if we take it, see, one thing I don't like to do when I make these dice towers is I want minimal overhang of the dice exit area, because I don't want dice being able to get caught on anything. So I'm thinking 7/8. That'll be like a super minimal. And 7/8. So 2 3/4, 7/8, 7/8. So what I'm mumbling here as I'm running these numbers in my head is I'm going to, I'm trying to, this is that ruler that I can't see real well. Where my little one went. I think I knocked it off the table the other night. Didn't see where it went. I had it fall into this box. Was never seen or heard from again. Oh, except it was just now, because I found it. Okay, so what I am going to do, this is for that, what we were talking about, that cavern sort of exit. I need to have a surface to attach that to. So we're going to mark at 7/8 and 7/8. We're going to do that again here. That's 7/8 and 7/8. Go ahead, draw a line there, and draw a line there, and then I said 2 3/4, so you go there. That's here. And 2 3/4. Yeah, see, when I measure twice, I measured it at 2.5, not 2 3/4. Or 2 3/4. Oh, maybe I did. Ish. And then 1. Sometimes I would use I might use a what do you call it? Yeah, a thing, compass, to have it be perfectly rounded. But, well, actually, you know what? This is on the interior, so, I don't think I'm going to round it on the interior. That'll give more gluing surface, so that'll make that easier. If I have to, we'll test fit it before we actually permanently attach it. Now I'm going to cut this little section out. All right. And we're going this side. This knife is getting dranky. You know what? I'm going to switch up to this one. Okay, whoop. That's not what I want. I want this one. Little emery board action. Now that other knife went super jank. So I'm just gonna smooth out some of these rough cuts with this emery board. A little more ASMR for you. Or this is just torture for Tomiko, probably. Now I'm filing. Sorry, I don't do ASMR. Alright, but I don't want any of these rough edges. All of this is going to, before painting, it's going to be coated in a Mod Podge primer, which will help seal everything up anyway. But this is just getting rid of some of these janky edges. How you doing there, Tomiko? I know you're saying mask, but I'm not. There's no dust. I mean, there is dust, but I'm not breathing it in. My mouth is closed. Except when I'm talking, I guess. But when using a Dremel tool, absolutely, because the stuff flies without control. But it's literally just staying on the thing here and a little bit on my fingers. I've been working with this stuff for several years and I've never had any side effects. Besides, I've been working with this stuff for several years and I've never had any side effects. Sorry, that was an old bad joke. So I'll say this, Dice Ogre, it's less luck than the groups that I play with on my streams. For the most part, are carefully curated from groups of almost everybody that I play with on my streams are people that I've been playing with for years. I love them and trust them implicitly. And know that they're the kind of people that are going to show up on a regular basis. So maybe I lucked out initially, but yeah, overall it's more careful curation than just plain luck. Oh, I also forgot I gotta trim off that top bit. So we're losing a little bit from the top here. I may end up putting some wood putty in here at some point just to help fill in some of those gaps and then sand it. But I want to get rid of this top bit here before we call it a night. I'm going to get this attached. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to wrap it up here in a minute. And we'll save that cavern piece for next time. I have to check the calendar because I'm not positive if I've got a Friday game next week. I can't remember. I'll have to check that. Because if I have a Friday game, that's at 8, and I won't be able to do this. But that would be over on the Nerdarchy channel. Never assume that. Never assume what? And also me. I'm not sure what that means. And also me. You didn't sneak by. I had you in some one-shots. I've seen how you play. I've watched some of your live stream games. I knew that you were a worthwhile person. Thanks, Carol. Have a good night. Alright, I'm just doing this thing where I'm kind of just test fitting some more and feeling around. So I think we're good. We're gonna go ahead and put this final group of, actually I shouldn't have put that there, the cardboard first. When the glue gun's been sitting for a little while, the glue on high temp gets to a near boiling and will actually start to melt down into the glue or the foam, which makes it harder for it to bond with the other flat surface. So if I get most of that super hot out there, then this stuff will be not as super hot, if that makes sense. And then here we go with that. Kickstand. And we'll go ahead and line this up across the top and the sides. Push that down just so it straights up. Put a little bit of pressure on it. True, turning folks down is hard though, especially when they've never played before, which are most likely to flake, but I like giving new players a chance. Yeah, you hit and miss sometimes, but I like playing with new people. I just this last week Sunday ran a game at a local meadery for 4 or 5 people who have they all play board games together, and a couple of them had just started to teach themselves how to play D&D. One of them had never played Dungeons and Dragons, and I got to run all 5 of them through a one-shot at the meadery, and it was a blast. So I think what we got here is, on the inside here, there's a very minimal overhang from this. We lost a little, no, I got that measured in just right. We didn't lose anything on the top there. I've got to figure out what to do with, I'm going to shine my phone flashlight in there so you can see what I'm looking at. So if you look just inside there, that's the bottom of the last ramp. I think before we put the cavern piece on, I think I might try to slip some foam in there to cover that, so that, I mean, the chances of seeing it when the tower's low, maybe it's not worth it. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like that it can be seen. So I might have to do something about it. So here's what we're gonna do. Here's where we're at right now. we've got our tower cladded. We're going to have to come up with the top piece that will have, obviously it'll be cut out. I'm going to do some rounding, and we'll start to fill in and sculpt a lot of this to round out these edges, even everything up, to have it look more like a unified solid piece. And then we will start to do some additional texturing to get that stone texture in there. And I'm going to wait until later in the process to add what is essentially going to be an add-on piece here that will blend in on the sides and sort of have a little bit, just make it stick out a little bit more, but it's going to have, we're going to lose here, so we're going to have sort of an archway appearance to it. And then that top piece here is probably going to have a little bit more of a roundedness to it in there. Yeah. And we'll do some cool texturing with the rocks here. And a lot of that's really going to pop when we get to our painting textures. So, yeah. All right. Well, we are at the 8:30 mark. So as I've said, many times, thank you all so much for tuning in. We will be here just about every Friday night. If you're unsure, then you can follow me at MTD_Jake on Twitter to stay up to date with what's going on with all of the various game streams. This stream will be happening just about every Friday night from 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Eastern, where we'll do stuff like that. We're going to be working on this tower for the next couple sessions. I may do some work off stream. If I do, I'll catch you up on what I did. We'll be doing some miniature painting and some more unboxings. At some point, we'll paint that Drider right here on the stream, and then I'm going to do a giveaway for that. So, let's see what else. Sunday night, you can tune in here, or tune into twitch.tv/mini-terrain-domain, where you can check out our Tomb of Annihilation campaign that's been going on for just about 2 years, or a little over 2 years. We are coming up on session 62. Monday nights is our All That Glitters Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign, dungeon mastered by Mr. Mike the Piper. This coming Tuesday, I will be over on Dice on Ice, where Megan is running their Curse of Strahd campaign. They are an amazing DM and an amazing player. So be sure to tune in and check them out. And then, of course, next Thursday will be the Dawnbringers, our campaign, season 3, which is probably drawing fairly close. We'll see how this next session goes. Episode 23, A New Dawn, will be coming up. And we recently added Dan Dillon to that stream. So I think that's it. Again, thank you. If you have been hanging out with us and you are not yet a subscriber, please consider hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified when we go live. And that way you'll also get notified when I post new videos, because there will be new review videos, unboxings, and paint reveal videos, such as the spell effects that I showed you earlier. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to excuse myself. I'm going to end this stream the same way I end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want. Bye.